Thank you. All right, Senator Kaine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to our witnesses for being here. At least three of you, Mr. Billingsley, Mr. Lannon, and Ms. Morley-Ryan, your testimony is really focused on workforce issues. Mr. Newman, you really get into how to conceive of the regulatory challenge, not that you ignore the workforce issues, but I really want to focus on the workforce side, and maybe I'll use, Mr. Lannon, your written testimony. We believe a shift to a skills-based approach to talent is the best way forward. But by a skills-based approach to talent, we mean an emphasis on what a person can do or learn rather than solely on their credentials. I kind of read Mr. Billingsley's testimony about the need to over-index investment in education and training in communities representing people of color. Ms. Morley-Ryan, you talking about Accenture's apprenticeship programs and some of the things you're doing. Okay, how do we deal with the workforce, and how do we look at what it is to be educated and ready to succeed in an AI-dominant economy? We are woefully behind in a number of the policies we have at the federal level. Senator Braun and I are co-sponsors of a bill that has now been pending before the Senate for 9 years. The bill would do something really radical. It would allow Pell Grants to be used for career and technical training and not just college. It has virtually a zero cost. It has had about 60 members of the Senate currently serving as co-sponsors at one time or another. It's gotten close to being passed, but there always seems to be something in the way. Most recently, we had it on the list for a markup in committee, but there were two other bills being marked up that day that were controversial, and so the entire markup was pulled down. And what we expected was going to be essentially a voice unanimous vote from the committee never happened. It's not yet been scheduled for another markup. Meanwhile, all of my employers are telling me they're having a hard time hiring people. We just did a manufacturing bill, who's going to make it? We just did an infrastructure bill, who's going to build it? You've testified that significant percentages of your employees don't need college degrees. And yet we offer to families whose kids want to go to college or whose parents want their kids to go to college a significant financial entitlement and incentive they can count on in a Pell Grant. But for a family that wants to have a youngster in Tulsa, for example, master skills to be an AI professional decades forward that doesn't require a college degree, we don't necessarily provide easily accessible financial aid for that family or for that student. Just seems to me to be a no-brainer, And I agree with you, Mr. Lannon. We really are moving to sort of skills rather than credentials. Now, sometimes the best credentials are a validator of skills. So somebody who can pass the American Welding Society certification exam, they can take that anywhere in the country, and they may not know what the name of the high school you attended or what college you went to, but they know what an AWS certification is. So a credential can often be a validation of the skills or the validation of your ability to succeed in this area. But I just would like to throw it open to you. You know, we're the HELP committee. We set federal education policy, including how we incentivize students and their families to learn. I think we ought to incentivize college attendance, but I don't think we should suggest that college is the only way for somebody to successfully learn and be productive in this economy, and I would just love any of your comments on that.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. Couldn't agree more, and I hope that with the looming transformation of AI, it could be used as impetus for taking action now at a congressional level. And I would just say, like Accenture, you know, we have had a lot of success with our Opportunity On-Ramp program at Workday, where 20% of our hires this year in early and mid-stage careers will come from a program that works with nonprofits to provide skill-based training for people at Workday, 4 to 6 month internships that are paid, transitioning to full-time hires at our company. People don't have to come from a background where they've had the opportunity to get a college degree, or maybe they're midlife and they are a veteran, or they're coming as a caregiver, and just having that skills-based orientation and mindset is so beneficial to us as an organization, and I do think we share that with my other panelists.
Absolutely. So I would draw a parallel between something that we're actually doing in Tulsa. We're trying to tackle a similar issue as it relates to, the cybersecurity industry, and we have some non-traditional programs like the Cyber Skills Center that offers a 6-month boot camp that we then use to connect people to apprenticeships within companies so that they can grow and be groomed and then get full-time employment. We should see something similar as it relates to the infrastructure around education and certification with artificial intelligence. But another thing we should consider is community-wide, use case training. One of the best ways for people to understand the power of artificial intelligence, specifically in different areas of the workforce, is for them to get hands-on experience seeing how effective it can be as a co-pilot for them. So one of the things that we've worked on designing in partnership with Seed AI, how do you go into a community and take some critical areas, workforce areas, and get the community to use, whether they be not just chatbots, but other forms of AI as co-pilots, whether it be in creative expression, grant writing, community development, social and criminal justice. We can provide real-world examples of how people can use AI to enhance, and improve their output in their career. That's a perfect way to get initial exposure before you plug them into an actual preset infrastructure.
Yes, and I echo again my fellow panelists here. I think what you're speaking to, Mr. Billingsley, is also just this overall technology and AI fluency that we need to be driving at the broadest level. And I think that starts at the K-12, sort of exposing people not only to the careers, which I think has been discussed quite a bit, but the technology in the context that it's a treat, to your point, Senator Hickenlooper, at the beginning, and not a trick, right? We want people to see what the value is for them within their own context, within their own sort of incentives and environment. And that comes back, I think, to what everybody has said so far today, which is centering the human or the person as a part of this conversation. So to your question on sort of workforce preparedness, Accenture is very much in line with you around providing opportunities, whether it's not a degree program or even a credential, but really driving technology and AI fluency in a variety of ways, which could be through work-based learning, it could be through a credential program or a 2 or 4 year degree, or it could candidly continue to just be on the job or within their K-12 education. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much. I yield back.